one of Burns's friends, Francis Groves, was writing a book about Scottish antiquities, and he asked Burns to give him some tales of witchcraft and Ayrshire folklore. And the tale he told was based around about Alloway Church, which is in the town, in the village where he was born. And his father is buried there, and to this day his gravestone is still in the ruined churchyard at Alloway. But the story centres around a drunken farmer coming home late one stormy night from Ayr back to his house, and his encounter with witches and warlocks in the old church, the old kirk in Alloway, having a ceilidh, and the ensuing chase and the chase over the bridge by the famous witch Nanny. Now many of you may be aware of the famous clipper ship, the Cutty Sark. Now that was named after the witch in Tam O'Shanter. And Cutty Sark refers to the short underskirt that the witch was wearing on the night. And in fact, the figurehead of the ship is actually a figure of the witch with the short underskirt. Here we go. Right. It's a long poem, so bear with me.
Get your glasses charged just now.
When Chapman Billies leave the street, and drouthy neighbours meet, and market days are wearing late, and folk begin to tack the gate, and we sit boozing at the nappy, and getting foo and unco happy, we think now on the lang Scots milds, that watters, mosses, slaps and stiles, that lie between us and our hame, where sits our sulky, sullen day, gathering our brows like the gathering storm, nursing our wrath to keep it warm. O Tam, hast thou but been sae wise, as ta'en thy ain wife Kate's advice? She told thee weel thou was a skellum, a blether and bluster and drunken blell, that frae November till October, ae market day thou wasna sober. And ilka melder with a miller, the sat as lang as thou had siller. And every naig was cad a shoe on, the smith and Lee got roaring full on. And at the Lord's house, even on Sunday, they drank with Kurt and Jean till Monday. She prophesied that late or soon thou would be found deep drowned in Doon, or catched with warlocks in the muck by Alloway's old haunted kirk. Ah, gentle dames, it gars me greet to think how many counsels sweet, how many lengthened sage advices the husband frae the wife despises. But to our tale. Ae market night, Tam had got planted uncorrect, fast by an ingle blazing finely, with reaming swats that drank divinely, and at his elbow Suitor Johnny, his ancient trusty drouthy crony. Tam load him like a vera brother, that had been fou for weeks together. The night drave on with sangs and clatter, and aye the ale was growing better. The landlady and Tam grew gracious, with favours secret, sweet and precious. The suitor told his queerest stories, the landlord's laugh was ready chorus. The storm without might rear and rustle, Tam didn't mind the storm or whistle. Care mad to see a man sae happy, he drowned himself amang the nappy. As bees flee hame with lades of treasure, the minutes winged their way with pleasure. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious, or the ills of life victorious. But pleasures are like poppies spread. You seize the flower, the bloom is shed. Or like the snow falls in the river, a moment white, then melts forever. Or like the borealis rays that flit ere you can point their place. Or like the rainbow's lovely form, vanishing amid storm. Nae man can tether time nor tide. The hour approaches, Tam maun ride. That hour on black arch the keystane, that dreary hour he mounts his beast in, and sic a night he tacks the road in as ne'er poor sinner was abroad in. The wind blew as if it blown its last, the rattling showers rose on the blast, the speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep and lang the thunder bellowed. That night a child might understand, the devil had business on his hand. Wheel mounted on his grey mare Meg, a better never lifted leg, Tam skelpit on through dub and mire, despising wind and rain and fire, whilst holding fast his gid blue bonnet, whilst crooning o'er some old Scots sonnet, whilst glowering round with prudent cares lest bogles catch him unawares. Kirkalloway was drawing nigh, where ghasts and howlets nightly cry. By this time he was crossed the ford, where in the snow the chapmen smored, and past the bucks in Meeklestane, where drunken Charlie's brax next bane, and through the winds and by the cairn, where hunters fund the murdered bairn, and near the thorn aboon the well, where Mungo's mother hanged hersel. Before him Doon pours his floods. The Dublin storm rose through the woods, the lightnings flash from pole to pole, near and more near the thunder's roll, when glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirkalloway seemed in a blaze. Through Ilkabore the beams were glancing, and loud resounded mirth and dancing. Inspiring bold John Barleycorn, what dangers they could make us scorn. With Tippany we fear nae evil, with Uskaba we'd face the devil. The swats he reamed in Tammy's noddle, fair play, he cared na deals a boddle. But Maggie stood, right fair astonished, until by heel and hand admonished, she ventured forward on the licht, and vow Tam saw an unco sicht, warlocks and witches in a dance, nae cotillion brent new fae France, but hornpipes, jigs, strathspeys and reels put life and metal in their heels. A winnock bunker in the east, there sat old Nick, in shape obese, a towsy tyke, black, grim and large, to gie the music was his charge. He screwed the pipes and gat them skill, till roof and rafters added dirl. Coffins stood round like open presses that showed the dead in their last dresses, and by some devilish cantrip slicht, each in its cold hand held a licht, by which heroic Tam was able to note upon the haly table a murderer's banes and gibbet-airns, twa span lying wee on christened bairns, a thief new cutted frae a rape, with his last gab, his gasp, his gab did gape, 5 tomahawks with blood red rusted, 5 scimitars with murder crusted, a garter which a babe had strangled, a knife a father's throat had mangled, whom his ain son of life bereft, the grey hairs yet stuck to the heft. With mair o horrible and awfu', to even name would be unlawfu'. 3 lawyers' tongues turned inside out with lies seemed like a beggar's cloak. 3 priests' hearts rotten, black as muck, lay stinking vile in every nook. As Tammy glowered, amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancers quick and quicker flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they cleek it, till Ulka Carlin swat and reek it, and coosed their duddies to the wark, and linket at it in her sark. Now Tam, oh Tam, had they been queens, oh plump and strapping in their teens. Their sacks instead of creasy flanning been snow white 1700 linen. Their breeks of mine, my only pair, that yens were plush a good blue hair. I would have given him off my hurdies for a blink of the bonny birdies. But withered beldams, old and droll, rig woody hags that would spin a foal, louping and flinging on a crummock, one that did the turn my stomach. But Tam kent what was what, fu brawly. There was a winsome wench and Wally that night enlisted in the corps, lang after Kent on Carrick shore. For many a beast to dead she shot, and perished in many a bonny boat, and shoot baith meikle corn and beer, and kept the countryside in fear. Her cutty sark, o paisley harn, that while the lassie she had worn, in longitude was sorely scanty, it was her best, and she was vaunty. Ah, little kenned thy reverend granny, the sark she coughed for her wee nanny, with 2 Scots was all her riches, would ever have graced a dance o' witches. Now hear my muse her wing maun cower, sick flights are far beyond her power. To see how Tam stood like ane bewitched, and thocht his very een enriched, even Satan glowered, and fidged fu fain, and hotched and blew, with might and main, till thirsty caper sin another. Tam tint his reason a' together, and roars out, "Well done,
Cutty Sark!"
And in an instant, was dark. scarcely had he Maggie rallied when out the hellish legion sallied, as bees buzz out with angry fipe and plundering hells assail their bite, as open pussies mortal foes when pop she starts before their nose, as eager runs the market crowd when catch the thief resounds aloud. So Maggie runs, the witches follow, with many an eldritch screech and hollow. O Tam, they'll get thy fern, in hell they'll roast you like a hern. In vain thy Kate awaits thy coming, Kate soon will be a woeful woman. Now do thy speedy utmost, Meg, and win the keystane of the brig. There at them thou thy tail may toss, a running stream they darena cross. But ere the keystane she could make, and faint a tail she had to shake, because Nanny far before the rest hard upon noble Maggie pressed, and flew at Tam with furious ettle, but little was she Maggie's mettle. Yea, Spring brought off her master hail, but left behind her ain grey tail. The carlin clocked her by the rump, and left poor Maggie scarce a stump. Now wha this tale of truth shall read, help man and mother's son take heed. When e'er to drink ye are inclined, or cutty sacks run in your mind, think ye may buy the joys o'er dear. Remember Tam O'Shanter's beer.